Good day. Today we will be looking at June 2022, paper 2, question 9. Okay, let's read the question. It says, in the diagram, DEFG is a cyclic quad, with DE being parallel to GF. I always like to highlight parallel lines. So we've got DE being parallel to GF, okay. DE is produced to R, T is another point on the circle, EG, FT, and ET are also drawn. They give us two angles. They give us E4 to be 72, and they give me G1 to be 16. Looking at these parallel lines, I always also like to look at which other angles would be equal to those lines. And if we take a look here at what else could be equal to 72, F1 could also be equal to 72 because of alternating angles. Okay, but let's start and let's take a look at what the question asks us. So the first question says find DGF. So here is DGF, the whole angle there. And they told us that EDGF is a cyclic quad, and it's only 2 marks, so the quickest thing that I can think of is that DGF is equal to E4 because of the exterior angle of a cyclic quad. So DGF is equal to angle E4, which is equal to 72, and my reason is exterior angle of a cyclic quad. If you can't see that, take a look at this cyclic quad shape, and there's my exterior angle sitting outside, and it's equal to this angle here. The next one, 9.1.2, what does it say? It says find angle T. So here's angle T, and I can see something. I want you to be able to identify shapes. So looking at the shapes here, I can see that the segments, the rule that contains angles in the same segment. If you need me to highlight it, I will, but it's here. Okay, and if we look at that segment, then G2 is equal to T, and I can calculate G2. So G1 plus G2 is equal to 72. I know G1 is 16, I want G2. So 72, so G2 is going to be equal to 72 minus 16, which is 56 degrees. And then I'm going to say that G2 is equal to angle T, which is equal to 56. And my reason is angles in the same segment. Okay, the next question. Let's just fill in our information that we have discovered so far. So I said that G2 is 56 and T is also 56. Okay, what do they ask us next? They ask us to find GEF. So GEF, it's this angle. This is a different color. They want us to find this angle here. Okay, so what do we know already? We know that F1 is 72, we know 56, and then we can calculate this with sum of angles of a triangle. So let's to do that, let's pinpoint it again. So we're looking at triangle EFG. We said F1 is 72 alternating angles, and we calculated G2 to be 56, and then we're going to find the angle GEF from sum of angles of a triangle. So let's start with what we know already. G2 is 56. We said F1 is equal to E4, which is 72, and that is, my reason is alternating angles, because DE is parallel to GF. And then we're going to use sum of angles of a triangle to find out what we want. So in triangle EGF, we want to find the angle GEF plus 56 plus 72 is equal to 180. Sum of angles of a triangle, and then we solve. So 180 minus 56 minus 72 is 52. So GEF is equal to 52 degrees. Okay, so those were all the questions with the first diagram. Let's take a look at the second diagram. It says in the diagram, it says in the diagram, the diagonals of the parallelogram KLMN intersect at P. That is meaning that P is the center of the shape. NM at the bottom is produced to S. R is a point on KL, and RS cuts P at T. NM, so NM at the bottom here to MS is 4 to 1. It's a ratio of 4 to 1. NL, the whole of NL is 32. And TL is 12. And we know that this is at the center, so that's going to mean it's half-half. So this is going to be 16. That's also going to be 16, therefore this is going to be 4. We also have lots of parallel lines. So I have parallel line here to here. I've got another one here and here. Okay, let's see what they're asking us. The first thing that they say is determine with reasons the value of the ratio NP to PT in its simplest form. That shouldn't be too hard, seeing as we already have analyzed it, okay? But it's 4 marks. So let's write out what we have already said. So we were given NL to be 32 units, and I said NP and PL are half of it because of the diagonals of a parallelogram. We know when we have diagonals of a parallelogram, they're equal, okay, after the center point. So NP is therefore going to be equal to PL, which is their 16, because of the diagonals of, you can say, of parallel lines or of a palm. Next, we've said that PT is equal to 4 because you can calculate that, seeing as we were given 12. And the question is asking us for NP to PT, which is going to be 16 to 4. And if we put it in its simplest form, divide by 4 on both sides, it's 4 to 1. Okay, the next one, which is a 2-mark question, says that prove with reason that KM is parallel to RS. So where's KM? Here's KM and here's RS. Let's erase. Okay, now we're gonna need those values for the next question. So here's KM and here's RS. How are we going to prove that they are parallel? Well, I can see a triangle shape here that I can use to help me solve this question. Because I also know something about NM and MS. I know that it's 4 to 1. And I can also see here it's 16 to 4, but in its simplest form, it is also the ratio of 4 to 1. That means that they're in the same ratio on either side, and so the converse proportionate theorem, which therefore indicates that this must be parallel to this. Let me repeat that again. I went very fast. So I said I know that NM to MS is 4 to 1. And looking at this diagram shape, this was 16 to 4, and the simplest ratio which we just found is 4 to 1. Therefore, it is in the same proportion on both sides. And if we think about our proportion theorem, the converse would be, therefore, because they are proportionate, these lines are parallel to one another. So how are we going to write that out? We're going to write out what we already know. NM to MS is equal to 4 to 1. Therefore, NP to PT is equal to NM to MS. And finally, we can then conclude that KM is parallel to RS, and my reason is converse proportion theorem. Okay, the last question in this section says, if NM is 21 units, so NM is at the bottom here. I'm going to raise this orange one. I'm going to raise that 4 and that 1. They're saying that NM here is 21 units. Determine with reasons the length of RL. Well, if this is 21, then the whole of this is also 21. They want us to find RL. We just said that these two lines are parallel, so that is going to mean that this is also parallel to this. And I've now created a triangle here. Okay? This is parallel to this. And we want to find RL, so we're going to use our proportion theorem. Okay, so this is 9.2.3. So RL over KL, which I know, TL, do you see TL, over PL. And this is proportion theorem. You must state when you say proportion theorem which lines are parallel. KM to RS. And now we want to find RL. I like to substitute first. So I don't know what RL is. I do know KL, it's 21. I do know TL, it's 12. And I do know PL, it's 16. Now I'm going to cross multiply. 16 RL, 12 times 21. RL is therefore equal to 12 times 21 over 16. Let's use our calculators. 12 times 21 over 16, 15.75. Quickly taking a look at mark allocation, let's work backwards. This was 4 marks for your statement and your reason, for your others, for your calculation, and for your answer. Taking a look at 9.2.2, we just had to give the statement and a reason for our answer, 2 marks. 9.2.1, where we had to find the ratio, statement, reason, statement, and your answer, 4 marks. Looking at 9.1.3, in the previous question, the last one was 2 marks. Just for calculating this, you could get a mark for any statement and reason, and then for your answer. But it was only 2 marks. 9.1.2, 2 marks, statement and reason, and 9.1.1, statement and reason, 2 marks. And in total, this question was out of 16.